Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started in just one more minute just to give everybody the opportunity to log in. So just bear with us, okay? All righty, I think we're going to go ahead and get started in respect to everybody's time. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight for this evening's workshop on crime prevention for commercial burglary. I'm just gonna go over a few house rules as we get started. First of all, please, if we can go ahead and have everybody mute themselves as the presentation happens. We are also going to be covering any type of questions that you guys may be having at the end of the presentation. We will also be utilizing the raise hand function if you wish to unmute yourself after, and we'll be calling on you guys accordingly. And one more thing, we are going to be recording this session. That way we can send it back out to you guys to review at a later time and also share it with community members who weren't able to attend tonight. I would also like to take a mention that Cindy is on the line. Thank you for joining us tonight. And if there is nothing further, I'm going to go ahead and hand it on over to Detective Travis McDonald, who will be instructing us on tonight's workshop. Detective?
Thank you, Monica. Welcome, everyone. It's a great thing that we can get together and talk about these kind of situations here with our business owners here in the city of Fremont. Obviously, City of Fremont Police Department, we're trying to keep everybody safe and happy throughout the year. And we want to make sure that our business owners have some proper information to help them keep their storefronts and shops going. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into a presentation here about how to, let's see, of course, there we go. Can you guys see that? Monica,
looks good. Looks perfect.
All right, excellent. So we're going to talk about burglary prevention for business owners here. It's not very long. It's 7 or 8 slides, and like Monica said here at the end, we'll be able to answer any questions that you guys have for us. So we'll go ahead and get started here. We'll talk about some facts related to burglaries. Okay, Fremont Police Department has several goals in our mission statement here, and one of them is to keep the number of burglaries, both commercial and residential, as a priority, a top priority for us. So we understand that these are some strange times, some trying times that we're dealing with here in terms of everything with the pandemic, and we understand how it is impacting our business owners. And we're aware of the impact it has on the community. And this is one of the biggest priorities that the agency has, especially for our investigative division. The goal is obviously to keep citizens safe and prevent and discourage any kind of property theft, which includes commercial burglary. Right now, the General Assignment Division of the Fremont Police Department Investigations Unit, we have 7 detectives that are assigned to investigate burglary and theft-related crimes. This is now I'm going into my 10th year as an investigator. This is the most detectives that we've had specifically dedicated to dealing with property crimes and burglary and theft stuff specifically. So you have 7 very talented, very aggressive young officers here that really do take advantage of all the things that this agency gives us as far as resources to go and investigate these kinds of crimes. So we've got a very, very good group of people up here that are dedicated to serving the community, specifically related to burglary and theft crimes. And then obviously, like I spoke about a minute ago, due to the pandemic with the whole COVID-19 thing, the restrictions that the leadership here in the state have put on small business owners and just business owners in general, large and small. A great number of these businesses aren't open to the public, and they're closed down because they're deemed either not essential, or the ones that are essential have modified their hours and their schedules. And criminals have targeted these businesses, knowing that a lot of times they're unattended. They're the normal hours of operation are modified or changed or completely shut down, and they know that there's items of value that are often inside of these businesses and storefronts, and these criminals have taken advantage of this kind of scenario, and they are targeting these businesses. Something that we touched on earlier in the previous presentation that I'll just touch on briefly here. Alameda County specifically is one of the only, I believe it's the only county left in the state that is still recognizing the zero bail. Zero bail means that if you are arrested for a crime that's not deemed violent, in most cases, you're going to get a citation. You're going to get a ticket, like it's just the same as a speeding ticket, and you're going to be let right out of jail, or even released right there on the street. That's where we're at in the terms of what we as law enforcement are dealing with when it comes to being able to actually arrest and keep people that are doing these crimes over and over again, to keep them off the street. We're in some very challenging times to keep those kind of individuals locked up. So it's a challenge. It's something that we as the law enforcement entity here in town, we recognize our obligation to the community, and that's exactly why we put this together, so that we can hopefully give you guys some ideas on how to keep your businesses safe, and just to give you kind of an idea about where we're coming from, and all the things that we have to cope and deal with here as the law enforcement folks. So we'll talk a little bit about crime trends. Crime trends, they always fluctuate. I mean, they seem to kind of change, there's like cyclical parts of this that change from time to time. And one of the most common things here for commercial or retail burglaries is the time that these occur. And the primary time that these are occurring, usually about 10 p.m. at night till about 6 a.m. And the reason for that is a lot of these businesses, like we talked about just a minute ago, with the COVID restrictions, they're closing up shop a little earlier than they would. 10 p.m. is about as late as a lot of these businesses are staying open, if they don't close earlier. And then about 6 a.m. is usually when businesses, employees start to kind of come back in and start their workday. And these criminals, they know that. They know that between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., those are prime witching hours for these people to go out and try and victimize businesses and business owners. I'm sorry. So those are the hours that they're primarily the most active. Suspects will often attempt contact before breaking in. Even if they think that the place is closed, they'll knock on the door. They'll have a plan in place to kind of maybe give a story if somebody is working inside, but they will attempt to kind of, check and see if anybody's in there, that maybe they're out of view from the front of the store. So they'll knock, they'll, maybe rattle on the doors a little bit, things like that, to try and just see if the coast is clear before they start doing their business. Common methods of entry. We're finding, unsecured doors, right? If you've got doors to your business, windows to your business, make sure that they're locked and secured before you leave. One of the other business owners before had a great idea of, if you got sliding doors and you can put a stick or a broomstick, broom handle, something like that in the little track there to prevent the door from sliding all the way open. It's a very inexpensive way of keeping doors closed. But that's a big thing. Got to make sure that your doors and windows are closed. Don't make it easy for these criminals to get in. Other ways that they're getting in: smashing and prying of windows and doors. They can pitch a rock through a window and be in your business in no time. They can pry open the doors to your business. Not a lot of body force doesn't take to defeat some of these locks. So smashing and prying a door is a very common way. And then we've got the door kick, or what we call body force entry, where they'll just use body force, smash into the door with their shoulder, smash into the door with their foot until the door caves in and they're able to get into the business. Those are probably the most common ways of getting in. We'll talk about the most common kind of property that's taken. It's included, but it doesn't always limit. It's not always the primary thing that these people are looking for. The most common stuff that we're seeing: money, right? People, they leave their business at the end of the night. They have money inside there a lot of times. Cash registers and money is by far the number one target. small electronics, iPads, iPhones, iPods, laptops, things like that that you are using as the business owner to help facilitate, you know, your daily stuff in your business. You know, whether it's to, you know, to actually make sales and transactions, or it's, you know, record keeping, whatever it is. Those are items that have value, and these criminals are targeting that. Tobacco products and alcohol, very easy. You know, it's easy to smash open a window, grab a bunch of bottles of booze, grab a bunch of cigars or cigarettes, smoking products, things like that, and take off. That stuff's got value, both to them in terms of consumption and just, you know, trading or resale on the street. And then lottery tickets. You know, we started seeing a trend of that here coming up, where it's pretty common over the years as it is, but, you know, with lottery tickets, quick smash, grab a roll of lottery tickets and start scratching those off. And, you know, the 30 seconds it takes to break in and steal lottery tickets can net these guys several $100s. And if they get lucky, maybe even hit a big one and, you know, get a lot more money out of it. So those are very commonly stolen and targeted by these criminals during these burglaries. So we'll talk a little bit about basic burglary prevention. This is not all of the options, but these are just some of the very basic ones that we have noticed and that we recognize are some simple things for you to do to protect your business and protect your livelihood. And it may sound silly, but starting off by locking all doors and windows. That's the very first thing, making sure that at the end of the night, those doors and windows are locked, okay? We're talking about making your business the least attractive to criminals. That's what we're talking about when we say burglary prevention. It's not just necessarily having the most, you know, sound, fortified business in the world that they're not going to even try to break into, but also making it the least attractive. And it starts with, you know, locking all windows and doors. Investing in an alarm or surveillance camera system. That's huge, right? You know, if you register your cameras with the city of Fremont and you have a system that automatically calls police when there's you know, when there's a burglary alarm that's sounded, they notify us, and then we immediately go to those calls. Surveillance camera systems, they're huge. That helps us identify people. If your alarm system can confirm glass breaks, if the sound of breaking glass a lot of times will trigger an alarm, or if they can hear audio from inside the business, so that when the call comes in to police, they're able to provide us real-time information as we're on our way to the call about what they're hearing, what they're seeing, and whatnot. That goes in hand with the actual camera system itself. The better the quality of the camera, the better chance we have at identifying the people that are responsible. We've seen cameras that are low quality. They provide an image of a person, but you can't tell anything about that person. You can't tell their race. You can't tell their height. You can't tell anything about the clothing that they're wearing, anything distinguishable, anything like that. They've got quite a few really good systems out there that even in low light, you can get excellent photographs, excellent images of tattoos, piercings, logos on clothing, race. That's a big deal. You can tell if they're male or female. The better quality of the video that you can get, the better quality, the better likelihood it is that we'll be able to help identify the people that are, committing these crimes. And that'll help us, in turn, track them down and find them. We've got a lot of good cases that have been solved because the business owners have invested in quality video, and it's helped us identify these people a lot easier, especially right now because you've got, with the pandemic, everybody's wearing a mask and we can't see their faces. So we need to identify people other ways: hats they're wearing, clothing they're wearing, tattoos that are visible, piercings that are visible, things like that. That's how we start really breaking things down and identifying people if we can't see their face. Locking up all valuables, putting them in a safe, or removing them from the premises at the close of business. I recognize that not everybody has the same kind of business where they can just take things, throw them in a safe, and leave. A lot of times, the valuables that they have are larger scale things, and it's tougher to lock those up. I recognize that, but whatever valuables that can be locked in a safe, cash at the end of the night, small electronics, things of value like that can be locked inside of a safe at the end of the night, strongly recommend doing that. It just it makes it tougher for people to be able to actually get loss or heavy loss out of your businesses if the valuables are locked down in a way that they can't get to them. If you're going to invest in a safe, invest in a quality safe. Spend the money, get a good quality safe, have it bolted to the ground, bolted to a wall, bolted inside of a closet, whatever it is, so that it can't be moved. And, you know, don't keep things like the combination just laying around on a piece of paper. If you're going to invest in a safe to store your valuables, strongly recommend you get the best one that you can, spend the money, and bolt it to the ground so it can't be moved. And then if you have to, remove what you can as far as valuables from the premises to close business. If a safe isn't the way to go, it's not the best option for you, and you have the ability to take small electronics, you know, cash registers, things like that. If you have the ability to take that stuff out of your business at the end of the night and bring it back the following day or the next day that you're open, do that. It may not prevent a break-in, but it will definitely, you know, it's one of those things where it minimizes the loss when these guys do get in. An inexpensive way to deter subjects from wanting to burglarize your businesses are installing alarm signs, alarm stickers, keep them visible from the outside of your business, put them on all the windows, exterior and whatnot, and make it very clear, hey, this is a business that has some security. Make it to where these guys and these gals that are committing these crimes, they don't want to come in. They want to go find another, you know, softer target to hit. That's a very inexpensive way of handling or making your business a little bit more secure and providing a visible deterrent to these folks to go take their crime actions down the road. If you're going to do that, I strongly recommend also that you just back it up with a security system. Good alarm, good cameras. I mean, the more you layer this problem, the more secure your business is going to be. Communicating with your building owner or lease agency about security measures. That's, you know, I understand a lot of times, you know, people are coming into, you know, they're starting up mom and pop businesses and they're small businesses and they're coming into different shopping centers and whatnot. Get to know the people that own the business, get to know your lease agencies and find out what security measures they may have already implemented. If they have cameras on site, if they have, you know, security guards that are on site, you know, get to know those people, get to understand their patterns, understand their schedules, and communicate with them about, like, you know, what problems have they had, if they have had problems in the area with burglaries and thefts, you know, talk about that and, you know, tailor those conversations to how you want your business to be secured, safety and safe. Communicate with other business owners too and operators. I mean, that's how you guys are gonna help us solve these crimes, by working together as a community and you know, trying to help each other out. You know, if you know that if your business has been burglarized and your other neighbors haven't, communicate with them. Hey, I got burglarized. This is how they got in. This is what they did. This is what they took. So be aware of that. One thing we were seeing, especially over the last 9 months, is that a lot of the businesses that had been burglarized had been repeat. They'd been burglarized a couple of times because we think that, number one, they were just in these shopping centers that there just wasn't a lot of obvious security. And that's one of those things where we were stressing to the business owners and the victims in those cases, communicate with your other business owners and business operators in your shopping centers. So that way, you know, they can learn from the mistakes, or they can learn from the actions of these criminals, to where, you know, they can better secure their storefronts. So we'll talk a little bit now about if you actually do become a victim. So if you're a business owner, storefront owner, and you get notification that there is a crime in progress at your store, your storefront, call 911 and report it immediately. Do not go down there and confront anybody. It's not safe. That's what the police are for. That's what we signed up for. That's what we're here to do. If there's a crime in progress at your business, call 911. If you come to work day or night, whatever time it is, and you find that there has been a burglary at your business, but the suspects are already gone, then you can call the non-emergency number, and that's the 510-790-6800 number. Call that one, and then we'll have an officer or a community service officer respond, and they'll take the report. Some things to keep in mind if you guys are the victims of these crimes. Things that are going to help us identify property and are going to help us hopefully get some of your property back that's been taken. You have to be prepared for these kinds of situations. And by prepared, I mean you have to be able to prepare to provide a description of the stolen property, what was taken, the color, the value, If you have serial numbers for items that were taken, specifically small electronics, that's huge. Having serial numbers for your property, including your cash registers and all that kind of stuff, that's a big deal. That helps us identify property down the road if it's later found. Like I said, the value of the loss that was taken, and then other pertinent information for the report, whatever it may be. Like I said, the make, the model, the color of things, for the if cash is taken, approximately how much cash, the denominations that it was taken, if it was American money, if it was foreign currency, whatever it is. Those are all things that we strongly encourage business owners and business operators to have a good grasp on, as far as what they have in their store of value, and that they have those kinds of ideas about how to report loss how to report the loss if there is a burglary. Obviously, something that as business owners you're going to have to do. You're going to have to call your insurance company at the conclusion of the investigation by the initial officer. They're going to, your insurance company is going to need to be contacted, and you're going to have to give them the police report. You have to give them the case number that the officer will provide with you, and then what the estimated loss is. It doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be to the good, and that will help get the ball rolling for you on the back end with your insurance company. And then again, communicating with other businesses in the area so they're aware of the crime, and they can take preventative measures as well. It's like I was saying before, like these measures that we talk about with getting a security system, getting a camera system, putting up stickers, making sure that your doors and stuff and windows are secure. It's layered, right? You can do one of these and hope that'll be okay. Or you can, take 3, 4, or 5 of these things, put them all together, and really honestly make your business a lot more safe and secure, and less attractive to criminals to want to break in. Criminals they're lazy for the most part. They're going to want to take the avenue of least resistance, and they're going to want to, get the most bang for the buck for the least amount of work. So if you've got a business that's, all lit up, well secured, it's got cameras out there, everything's posted on the signs, they're more than likely going to want to go a different direction and try to, victimize somebody who hasn't taken such strong and such thorough precautions. Some helpful links. Thank you very much to Miss Monica here for helping us out with these helpful links. They are extraordinarily helpful for everybody. If you have any questions, you can contact us at Fremont Police at fremont.gov. You can visit us at fremontpolice.org with the / of the Comburg. And then you can visit our YouTube channel. This, I think Miss Monica mentioned earlier that this is being recorded. This will be put up later on the YouTube channel for people to view. And then, just to stay up with what the Fremont Police Department is investigating, how we're doing business, and things that are going on in the community, you can sign up for Nixle, and you can by texting your zip code to 888-777. So thank you very much for your time. I really do enjoy this interaction with the community. I think it's important for our community people to understand that, the police department, while these are very challenging times for our community and our country as a whole, we are committed to providing the best quality service that we can to our citizens and to our business owners. We care about your safety. We care about your security. We want to make sure that your livelihood is as protected as it can be. And I really do appreciate the honor of being able to come and sit and talk to you guys about this kind of thing for tonight. So with that, are there any questions? And Monica, you're gonna have to help me out here with, I don't see where the questions are. Can you help me with that?
Sure. Can you go ahead and stop sharing screen really
Absolutely.
quick? And then that way we can kind of see everybody. I do see that the mayor has joined us tonight. Mayor, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening. Just wanted to thank all of you for taking the time, both from our staff as well as the audience and participants. We recognize that these are very challenging times, and because the way things have been in the economy right now, we are unfortunately starting to see some greater increase in crime. But it's something that we believe that we can partner with you to come up with discussions and ways to help address these the best possible. And we really appreciate the Chamber for the partnership with our police department this evening, both this morning and this evening, to try to share with you some of the tips and ways that you can be able to be proactive and what we can do together. So thank you for this moment. And I just thank all of the public also, I know, for your cooperation with some of the orders. I know that I'm sure many of us feel very confined these days with COVID, but having the ability to keep our community safe is really critical. And I was on a call yesterday night with so many of our fellow mayors about the concerns that we see with so many of the hospitals now being filled to their capacity. And we're trying to stem that curve and to ensure that all of us are able to be safe and stay healthy. So on behalf of the council, myself and our staff and just the community as a whole, we thank you for that cooperation. We know that it's challenging, especially in these holiday times. And we thank you for this. I see somebody asked a question, what regulatory is responsible for lifting the immediate release? Well, I think right now for the health orders, those are coming from the Alameda County Public Health Department, but certainly the state has been taking a little more active role. Just to let you know, many of us have expressed as mayors and community members the concerns with the impact that it has on our small businesses and our communities right now. I apologize for being late. I was actually just coming from our first virtual youth and mental health summit for our youth. And so we just had some videos and opportunity for some of our youth ambassadors to talk about what this means to them, being remote distance learning, as well as the impact of stress of not be able to connect with your fellow classmates. And so certainly we are trying to approach this as much as possible on different fronts via Zoom webinars or through other outreach. And if you have questions on that, that was recorded. And so you'll have a chance to see that too, if you're interested. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mayor. Cindy, I also wanted to say thank you for attending. If you had anything additional you'd like to add before we start opening up the floor for questions.
Are you referring to me, Cindy?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. I saw another Cindy on there and I'm like, I don't know who that is.
My apologies.
No, I just want to thank you for doing this. And we are going to share the link with our membership too, because I know that the majority of views we get of anything we do is after the fact, not the live portion of it too. So we get, I mean, literally hundreds after the fact. So we're going to share this with you too. But, you know, I noticed the mayor, or I didn't notice, but I heard the mayor respond about the regulatory body. That was my question. So if I understood it correctly, Detective McDonald said we are still the only county that releases immediately after the arrest. Did I understand that correctly? No? Yes?
And we are the only county that's in California, or one of the only counties in California that is still adhering to the zero bail. Yes.
So how did the other counties get around that? If I think the mayor said it was a California.
Well, this one for Alameda County, there was a discussion at a certain time period which that policy would have expired, but the County Board of Supervisors, if I believe correctly, or the County Judicial Oversight decided to extend it at this time through the COVID period. So it was not certainly the city of Fremont, but we are supporting the decisions that are made in terms of we don't really have a veto vote on those, but those are the ones that came from, I believe, either the Board of Supervisors or the local court system itself. And I think it's maybe the Alameda County courts. Sure,
I understand it's not the city of Fremont. I was just wondering, I guess where I'm going with this end game question is where I'm going is, I'm wondering if there's a way that we start some kind of way to maybe a letter writing campaign or something to try to get them to change it, because I feel like I've heard from officers, it's just they continually are arresting the same people and then they're just released. So I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can help change that, or would it be futile to try and even do it?
No, I think certainly at all times, many of our judges and our other Board of Supervisors we just went through an election. So feel free to share your feedback. I think that would be my advice. Whether it's with our legislators, we have 2 assembly members, we have a state senator, and hearing from all of you what this means in terms of the impact to yourselves and your safety and to our community. I have certainly expressed my comments to them. But it's better, I think, certainly coming from a larger group than one individual, because individually, even like yesterday when we were talking about the county health orders and my concerns with how there are a lot of efforts to create orders, but not as much to enforce them. And then it falls onto our shoulders as municipalities to help to enforce those. And it would be sometimes better if they had other county or state level agencies also participate.
Okay, thank you. We probably will be looking for maybe some statistics to back that up. So Monica, I'll reach out to you offline to see if there's any way we can bolster our argument by getting some statistics behind that. But just to end it, thank you so much, Monica, for your work on this, and then also Detective McDonald for the presentation. It was helpful. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, I see one question in the chat, and then if you guys want to go ahead and put them in the chat or use the raise hand function, you guys are more than welcome to do that as well. One of the questions that I see in here, Detective, is how many cameras do you want us to install?
Low alert.
Cameras to be installed. That's a great question. And to be honest, it's hard for me to give a hard answer for that. I think it's dependent on the size of your business, the location of your business, you know, what you have to cover, things like that. You know, if you got a large business down, you know, like a Dick's Sporting Goods, something like that down at Pacific Commons, you got a lot of square footage, you got a lot of entrances and exits to cover. If you got like a smaller little shop in one of the strip malls, you know, maybe down, I don't know, in Irvington or something like that, you know, you probably have a little bit less to cover, and, you know, you just have to kind of gauge it. You know, my advice to people, and I can't really recommend any kind of specific system, would be to, you know, do your homework. Look at all different options for what you think the size of your business would be. And then, you know, shop around, have some different vendors come in and give you some quotes, give you some ideas about what they think is going to be the best for your system or for your situation. And then, you know, consult with other, I'll go back to the presentation where it's consulting and communicating with other store owners, other business owners that are in your shopping area where you own your business and where your business is located, because they may have, you know, great systems that work for them, but they may not work for you. And you know, conversely, they may have a good system that you may like and might find that it's, you know, it does work for you. So there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of different ways to go about things. The best advice I can give is for cameras, you definitely want your cameras to be covering your entry points and exit points. And then if you can put cameras inside the business as well to cover, you know, things that are of value, you know, where your cash register is, where your valuables may be, if you have a safe in there, things like that. Those are just some suggestions about where to put cameras. But my personal belief is I don't think you can have too many cameras. It's your business. You want to make sure that it's as safe and secure as possible. And you want to be able to assist law enforcement with, you know, hunting down the people that are breaking into these businesses. And the best way that you can do that is to, you know, have as much in your hands as a resource to help us on the back end as possible. Hope that answered your question.
Does anybody else have any other questions for the detective? This is your opportunity. You have an expert on hand, so definitely please get any of your questions out there. If not, I'm gonna wait a few seconds, see if anybody else has anything. I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat. So if you guys want to go ahead and reach out to me and have additional questions, I can go ahead and streamline those questions on over to the detective, and we can get some sort of resolution for you guys. All right. Well, it looks like that we're going to call this an evening. Thank you again for your time, Detective. Thank you, Mayor, for joining us as well tonight, and all the community, you know, sharing your time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Monica. Appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody. Mayor, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.